Hey guys, this is Song Wolf. I'm here at the Hamilton Cemetery and I'm just doing a little walking tour of history of Hamilton, and I'm bringing you along, okay?
Thank you, Spencer. You guys can go all around here and have some fun. Hey, you want to carry that today?
Me or?
No. Is that too heavy for you?
Yeah.
You can leave it with my son.
Or you can hook it on me.
No, it's got my camera and water.
Oh,
in it.
okay. All right.
Stuff.
Okay, good. I saw Bill put your jacket in there. You didn't need that.
No, I always overdress.
No. Yeah. I underdress. I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out today. My name is Robin McKee. I'm a local historian here in Hamilton, and I did something 20 years ago. I came up with this idea that if I brought people into the cemetery, I could teach them the local history by the dead guys that are buried here, and they're the ones that actually made the history for us in their lifetime. So in their lifetime, I call that the dash, right, between the birth and the death. And so I describe what the dash is, well, what they did when we go to the tombstone, because you don't know what their dash is. So the idea is that I'm going to tell you the story of Hamilton through the guys that actually did it. Yeah? Right? And history isn't taught in schools, especially. Yeah, you're going to get far.
Itty bitty penis. Itty bitty penis.
Yeah, it's called a red light. Oh, hi girls.
Hi, how are you?
All right,
Sorry.
could you do us a favor? Just sign in. And I'll wait. I'll talk a little bit more. I'll dance a little bit more. You won't miss much, right? And so it's not taught in schools, and I thought it was my duty to do that in the sense that I had the knowledge and I had the venue that I could do it for or in, and so I've been doing it for 20 years, and I've been doing it for free because I give back to the community, right? And that's my idea, is that we need to be more involved. Yeah. Okay. So I'm directly involved by teaching you your history, and I guarantee that I'll probably make you laugh in the cemetery too. All right. That's not disrespectful for the rest in peace people here, but the thing is that I do not see it as a scary place and that type of thing. I don't see it as zombies. What I see it is as an open art gallery with all the tombstones that you see. They're all different. That's what makes Hamilton Cemetery so unique. And the idea too is that there's wildlife in here. You can come here to watch birds, walk your dog. It's a peaceful place. So it's all that. Now, might get hot. We have water here, just in case, and we also have umbrellas. So if anybody needs anything, we got that, all right? No? Then let's get going. Yeah. That's what. And today's tour is the power of the city. Now, anything you can think about power is what is going to be talked about today. And some of the things that come up is like Stelco. That's the power of building stuff, right? But there's other powers that you give and recognize.
Okay, I read that. Yeah, I'd rather do that. Okay.
Hi, going to try to keep you in the shade as much as possible. I don't want anybody passing out on me, okay? That's a rule. And I'm going to try to stay on the pavement as much as possible, too. Okay, this is Millionaire's Row right behind me. And these are the three main vaults that the millionaires in Hamilton built. Why there's only three is because these two here are buried, made inside the embankment. The embankment is that hill. That hill is the first line of defense for the British during the War of 1812. So in the Hamilton Cemetery is the fort of 1812, and you're seeing it right there, okay? Now, they put two of them into the embankment here, and then that one over there, which everybody thinks is a Greek temple, but it's not. Senator Sanford, he leveled the embankment and put an above-ground vault. That above-ground vault destroyed the history of the embankment in the War of 1812, and the city council said, no more. Just because you got money doesn't mean you can destroy history, right? And so that's why there's only three. Now, let's talk about Senator Sanford. And I said it's a Greek temple, but it's not. If you know anything about Greek architecture, the idea of that is that there was three columns that they would use in the construction of their temples. There's the Doric, the Ionic, and the Corinthian, and they were all used for their temples, and but they only used one style for they chose one style for a temple. All right? Now, here you have on the side square Doric columns. They were not square. All right? On the front, you have, whoa. Where did he come from?
Obviously not one of the residents.
There. Whew. In the front you have Corinthian columns, and you can tell the Corinthian ones, they had the capital was very ornate on the top. But Corinthian columns are long and thin. So what he did was cut them to be the same size as the Doric columns, which are not Doric, right? And then put the, I don't know, flower box on the bottom to level them up. Then on the flower box on the bottom, he put the design, which is called a frieze. Well, that frieze would be in the gap between the top of the capitol and the roof line. There's a line there. That's where you would put the frieze. And the frieze is usually the design of the statue or the temple goddess or god. So they would have like a little way of showing what they did. Right? Then in the peak, he put the same design in there. Well, that same design is where the statues of the goddesses and gods would have been. Think of the Parthenon, where you have the Elgin statues, they're hanging out on the side of the edge. Then he puts the statue on the top of the roof, and that is a statue of the goddess of hope, and she's got a finger going up like this, and I guess you hope to go to heaven. Right? But that is a pagan symbol, and we live in a Christian society. So at the beginning of the 1900s, the idea was that when they were bringing, this is Victorian times too, they were bringing in the classics. Hey guys. Yeah. You're Moses. Yeah. You know what the number one rule is? Don't fall. Don't fall. Okay. All right, and so they were bringing in classic elements of Rome and Greece, mostly Greece, and bringing them into our society, and we were getting more classical in that sense. So they brought in statues like that, and that's a toga woman or goddess. And to make it Christian, they threw in a Christian symbol, and that symbol is the anchor that she's holding on her left hand, all right, arm, and that is the symbol of Christ walking on the water. You know, you can't do that because there's no buoyancy. What you have to have is that you have to be anchored in your faith of Christianity. So all that, and there you have a Greek temple. It's not. Okay, yeah. So this is a classic example of having money but not class. Right? So let me tell you how he got his money. He became a senator. They started something interesting here in Hamilton. I've got to give you this. I keep forgetting these things. And what he did was he revolutionized the clothing business, and he started mass producing clothes. And what that would do is eliminate the tailor. And you could go into his shop and pick out a pair of pants and try them on, take them to the counter, pay for them, and walk out. That was revolutionary at the time. Let's start that way.
What's the year?
Hmm?
What was the year of that it started? Around.
Good question. I forget when he made his first. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
He was born in 38 and died in 99. So sometime before that. I would say the 70s or 80s.
Of 1800?
18.
Yes.
Yeah. I should have that. Joe, you know that? No, see, it's one of those things. Who knows? Okay. Anyway.
1862.
What?
1862.
Oh, I love Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. There you go. 1862. And that was during the American Civil War. Okay, so he was doing something very strange at the time because we were afraid that they were going to attack us. Anyway, 1862. I'll remember that now.
No, it's okay. I just
You stumped me already. Good.
Thank you.
So he got the contracts for all the government military, both Canadian and British. The only, I guess, force that he didn't get the uniforms for was the Air Force. And the reason for that is that the Wright brothers hadn't flown yet. So that the Air Force hadn't been invented. He made a lot of money, and you could see his mansion in the photographs there. And that is that house was on Jackson and Caroline, and it's called Wessenford because his name is W.E. Stamford. So you put his words together, and you got the name. And when it was torn down, they salvaged the metal that was on the fence, and they incorporated that into the entranceways of the little teeny houses that are there today, and they're called it's called Wessenford Crescent. Anyway, okay.
I have one question.
Sure.
We're trying to figure out, the warehouse was on King and John.
Yeah.
What used to be on that corner of King and John? Was that the McDonald's?
No.
Like, I mean,
no.
sorry, I'm
That
It was Pizza Pizza.
That burnt down.
Oh, it burned down?
That
Okay.
burnt down, and
Yes.
so that is where the post office was, and which is the courthouse today.
Sorry, dear.
Oh,
Right.
between the courthouse?
Oh, we're the courthouse.
Yeah, between King and
It's
Main.
up one. I'm thinking down one on Main. It's up one.
Oh,
It's up
help if I
one.
had
We're on
light.
Main, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks. Okay, thank you, yes.
Yeah, I don't know
I
what
know.
was there
No,
before
that's okay. The post
before
office
him.
is fine.
Yeah,
We all
and there was
know
two
that.
post offices there. Yeah, the old one and the one we
Yes,
see
right.
today.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. So he made a lot of money, and he had another house on the beach strip, and it had its own rail stop. And in the summertime, he would open that up to women with their children, and they could go out of the city to. So, could you do me a favor? You're going to be here for a while. Can you hold these for me? Great, thank you. So he could take the ladies there and the kids, and they would get out of the dirty city, and at the same time get the fresh air of.
I already had that.
That's him. That's
Yeah.
it. He's pretty ugly.
Just hold it.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is that he had this one here.
Yeah.
Ship? Yeah.
Ship, yeah.
He had the largest yacht in Lake Rousseau in the Muskokas, and one afternoon he was having tea with a young lady, and once they had finished their tea, right, he went to take the anchor off the bottom of the Canadian Shield. He pulled, it pulled back, and he fell into the lake, and he drowned. The lady was disappeared the next day and never saw her again. And ironically, he put the anchor on the roof. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that was a long one, isn't it? That was a long one.
Who made all these decisions? Sorry.
What?
Go ahead. Who made all these decisions about the design and everything?
Oh, he did. He actually built it for his son. His son died before he did, of course. So he actually brought the designer of the bank or the vault in Wall Street, New York City, to Hamilton to design it. And the family members are buried on the walls on either side, left and right. I think there's 6 of them in there. Yeah. You, Bill?
Did you say something about the Elgin marbles? Were they the Elgin marbles? The
Yeah.
Elgin?
Yeah.
Were they stolen from the Parthenon?
What?
Were they stolen from the Parthenon?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And they're in the British Museum.
Oh, it's still stolen. Okay.
Yeah. And they're still asking to get.
Still want them back.
They want them back, but yeah, they could make replicas. I think. Yeah.
Sticky stuff they painted on.
Yeah. You know, they got 3D printers now.
Sure. To make a gun more than an Elgin marble.
Yeah.
Okay, the middle one, probably the smallest one. This is Thomas Watkins, and it had nothing to do with the spices. He was a teacher here in Hamilton, and what he did was something again radical, and he built a multi-leveled building in downtown Hamilton, and in it was a major department store basically, and each floor had a different department that you could go to: furniture, clothing, that. He put in all sorts of innovations in that building. He had the first credit card, basically, system for the people that went there, and he put in like a kind of like an air thing, so that you could pay for it here. It went up to the accounting, and the accounting would bring it back down. It was kind of neat. He put telephones in, and what I'm talking about is the Wright House.
The Wright House.
There you go.
I was thinking
Yeah.
the Wright House.
And when they were here, you go.
Yeah.
And when they were renovating it, I passed this around, and a guy in the crowd said, "Where'd you get this picture?" And I blew it up from a little business card that I found in the library. So he said, "That's the original look of it." And I went, "Yeah."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pass it around this way, and you go that way. Yeah. So he started the Wright House, and it's still there today. It's a designated property under the Ontario Heritage Act, and inside there's probably they're buried in niches that are inside the dirt under the ground. And so what you have there is probably about 12 family members that are inside. Okay. All right. Now the next one over here. This is
Anybody else?
George. George Tuckett. And George Tuckett was the tobacco king of Hamilton. And what he did was he started rolling cigars in the Hamilton market in the 1860s. See, I got that date. Because it's important, right? And what happened was that he used Virginia tobacco because there was no tobacco company or business or farming here in Ontario at the time. We didn't have a Simcoe or a Tillsonburg. They hadn't figured it out yet. So the only tobacco that was coming into Canada was from Virginia, and it was the best tobacco around. So he went down to, well, the Civil War started, and that dried up his supply of tobacco. So he went down to Lynchburg, Virginia, and he bought up all the tobacco he could, put it into a warehouse, and when the blue guys, the North, attacked and conquered Lynchburg, the battle lines changed, and so that meant that the warehouse with this tobacco was now in the North, and so they could confiscate it, but they didn't want an international incident because the tobacco was owned by a Canadian. So they allowed the Canadian to put all his tobacco in his buckboards, and he brought it back to Hamilton, and he started rolling cigars, and the money kept rolling in because he had a monopoly on smoking, cigars. Now, one thing he did do, that he realized that 50% of the population was not smoking his cigars. So he decided that what he should do is invent something that would help people smoke his, he just made a smaller cigar, which was called a cigarette. And that cigarette, he put perfume in, and so that he could entice women to smoke. That was the 50% that wasn't smoking his stogies. Okay? And so he invented the T&B cigarettes. Now, why he called it the T&B was Tuckett and Billings. Billings was his best friend who had gone down to Virginia to get the tobacco during the war. So he never forgot his friend, right? He was a mayor of Hamilton, 1896, I believe, and he was on the committee to bring the Sir Johnny Macdonald's statue to Hamilton, the very first statue to Sir Johnny Macdonald after he died. And yeah, what else we good? Oh, the monument itself is a little wider than, say, Watkins, and the reason for that, I think it looks like a tobacco humidor, right? And you can see that on the back it goes down, right? So it would actually lift up like that. That's not how it does, but and there's an optical illusion here too. If you're thinking that these are underground vaults, the idea in your head is that you're going to go down into the dirt, all right? Because these are underground vaults, but the underground is in the hill. So both these have stairs to get up to go into the down. All right. Now there's let's go up there now.
So are you saying cigarettes were invented in Hamilton?
No. Okay. Just getting close here. Oh, his house, or his mansion, he called Myrtle Cottage. And he was into myrtle. I don't know why, a lot of things were myrtle for him. And his cottage, it still exists today, and it's called the Scottish Rite. That's his building.
Some comment.
Yeah. And when he died, like Sanford, the report of his death says he died in bed. The problem there was that it wasn't his bed.
Smile.
Hmm?
Give a smile.
Yeah. It was his lover's bed that he had a heart attack and died. And the butler went over to the girlfriend's house with a wheelbarrow, put him in the wheelbarrow, and brought him back to the Wright house and put him in bed. Yeah. Now, the other thing I was going to show you is that, yes, they were rich, but they were cheap. All right? The reason for that is that you've got a lovely monument with finished stone and decorations on the front, because that's the facade that they want people to see. Now, if you look onto the side, right, there's all sorts of rubble stone on the side. And when they put the rubble stone, that would have been hidden by the hill. So they said, oh, well, no one's going to see it, it's going to be buried. Well, they didn't add in the idea of having erosion. So what you have, when this went in, say 1900, right, that a triangle of dirt is the amount of erosion from wind, rain, snow of the hill. So it washed away that much dirt, and now you can expose how cheap they were from the back. And also, that shows you that the embankment was higher and steeper 100 years ago, which means it went back to the 1800s in the War of 1812. This was a real steep fort. All right? Yeah, good. All right. Oh, I didn't show you that, guys. Ah, I tell you, Joe, why didn't you tell me I got stuff? All right, you guys can go that way. Spread it up, and go this way. I didn't do that right.
Did he have a name for the cigarettes, like were they a brand, or did he sell them loose?
Yeah, he sold them loose. He sold them in boxes, and the image that he had is the same image it's the stained glass window that's at the top of the stairs. I can't remember exactly what the name is.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
But that's the different sizes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we know burying there today.
Oh yeah. The family are in the niches in the back,
Right.
And again, there's about 12. 3 across and 4 up.
But I mean, do they still bury
The family?
the family?
Oh,
now?
if there's room,
If there's room.
there's a family
Hello.
lottery, I know, for the land vault. And just recently there was a burial in that because it was a cremation.
Okay.
So there was room.
So there's Thanks. Thank you very much. Well, we have there you go. Work at Tuckett.
Yeah, and the tobacco factory was on Queen Street,
Queen Street.
North, and his mansion is on the hill, so he could actually look down to his factory.
On the west side, they have apartments there.
Yep. And the factory, he put in all sorts of innovations in it. He put fire escapes, and it's like, why would you put fire escapes? You know, that was for his employees. So he had a real connection with his employees. And if you were a valued employee long term, he actually would build a home for you. And that's why Tuckett Avenue off of Lock Street, that's where he had his home.
You got these? Thanks.
My friend lives on Queen Street, and I think that's the apartment buildings that are across from her house. I think that's where that was. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Do you have a different photo? Have I seen those?
I don't know.
I know. Thank you. Help if the wind didn't catch it.
long ago. Oh, she was the carpenter family's maid at the housekeeper at Rock Castle. Wife of Henry McGill. And Alexander Carpenter left her an annuity in his will. So that fills in a little detail about Rock Castle. I just think some of these. More.
They filmed a couple different shows, not anything famous, but in our building at work, because our building's been all old school. So they've made it look like 50s and 60s and a few times they've done that.
Which school is it?
No, I know that you like
All modern and, you know, very nice.
1966.
Excuse me. Sorry, dear.
He had an uncle that worked there till they closed, and then he went to Stelco after that. Well, yes.
Can you do some off-roading?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, trust me, I do it a lot.
Okay.
I already told you who my best friend is.
No, he's not your best friend. He loves you. Yeah. Oh, he'll be your best friend. That's not it.
Oh.
He moved again.
He moved?
Oh, don't you hate it when they do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They do that on a regular basis with me. Yeah. I can't find him. Oh, here he is. I knew he was close and he was black.
We need a scout.
All right. Now this is the power of the city tour. So far you got 3 different powers, right? You've got innovation for clothing, then you've got department store, and then you got cigarettes. All right. So this one is oh, I'm breathing heavy now. Richard Moat Weiser. Interesting middle name, Moat. September 3rd, 1818. Yep. There's the dash. And March 23rd, 1900. He was born in New York State, and he taught school there. Didn't really like that, so he bought a bookstore and in Rochester and sold books. And he became a partner to O.G. Steele Publishing, and they published Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Wow.
Okay, so there's the connection with Canada already, but he's still in the States. In 1850, he moved to Hamilton, and he established a sewing machine factory. Now, in 1856, non-British patents could not be extended into British territory, Canada. So Weiser stole the patent for the Singer sewing machine company and put his name on it. So he was producing Singer sewing machines as Weiser. But he was kind of a tinkerer, and he actually improved the Singer sewing machine, and he never got the British patents for him. But he, I don't know anything about sewing machines, but he improved the shuttle, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know shuttles? Okay, good. What are they?
Yes.
The bobbin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the bobbin. Yeah.
That's the thread on the
Okay.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
It's actually what collects the bobbin.
he fixed the design, but still, that was his own little thing that he put in there to make it better. But it was a Singer sewing machine. But he made a lot of money on it, and he didn't have to pay any U.S. royalties.
Well, Robin, if he was the
as opposed to the long spindle bobbin, I bow to him.
Yes, he would be.
I don't know.
He would be.
Credit for it.
I actually have a Weiser in my living room, and I should look at that, see if it's long enough. I don't know. Yeah, I bought one. I have a Hamilton artifact. Yeah, not the original, it's later on. It actually looks like a singer. Right. His first factory was on James Street North at Vine Street, and he expanded and moved to King Street and Catherine Street, and he employed 40 men at the time. So this is really what his downfall is in the manufacturing, is because he overextended himself because he was doing so well with his stolen patent. In '75, he received a medal from the Australian Emperor Franz Joseph for the world's best sewing machine. The world's best sewing machine. I thought that was pretty cool. And so that same year, he expanded again to Barton Street, and he now has 800 employees, producing 2,000 machines a week. So he's overextended at this point, right? By 1885, the demand for his machines declined, and he tried to diversify again. He established the Weiser lamp and manufacturing company, and I know where one of those lamps is. It's in well, I just forgot where it was. And the guy won't sell it to me. Yeah, and it's working condition, absolutely amazing. Yeah, lamp. And it was a coal oil lamp whose flame was maintained by a clockwork fan, and it did not require a chimney, so it had no smoke. It was absolutely amazing. This guy fired it up for me, Woodstock, and he won't sell it to me. I don't know why. I gave him a book and everything. Not for the lamp, but and so in 1892, Weiser was bankrupt. He couldn't do anything anymore. Now, his good friend, Senator Sanford, bought the rights to the lamp and gave it back to Weiser so he could make some money, and live. So there's the benevolence, I guess, of Sanford and his friends. He also operated a soap factory. So I guess with all that coal oil, he had to be clean. He died of pneumonia in 1900. Now, when he died, the flag at City Hall was dropped to half-staff, and he and the funeral, he was in state in the City Hall, and the funeral took place from City Hall. So he was a very important man, but he didn't make any money.
Oh, he made money.
Oh yeah, yeah, he just lost it. Yeah, yeah.
He died just in time.
What's that?
He died just in time.
Yeah. So he, it's a Hamilton story that's not told too much, but the Weisers are out there, and I got one, and so I'm quite pleased with that. And all these artifacts that I do have, when the Hamilton Museum is produced, I plan on